Hi, good morning to all my students. Today's lecture is going to be very much interesting for all of you because we are going to discuss Cold War and I'm going to talk about the meaning and definition of Cold War and how this whole process actually was started, in international politics. Um, After the end of the Cold War situation, what we have seen that there remained only the two major powers, as superpowers at international fore in international politics. One was the Soviet Union, and another was United States of America. But let me just tell you, but even though there was a presence of many other powers, for example, Japan was there, but it was attacked by the United States of America. It did not remain as much as powerful to show her dominance at international level. Similarly, was the case of the United Kingdom. It got exhausted, at that moment, and therefore it was not able to show, to play its major role in international politics. And same was the case with Germany, because Germany got partitioned, and therefore, it was not in a position to maintain that kind of, role in international politics. And there remained only the two superpowers. One was the Soviet Union, and another was the United States of America. So these two remained the most powerful countries on planet during the Cold War scenario, during the Cold War situation. But uh, before moving ahead, I have to tell you who were actually who used the term Cold War. Let me just tell you, first time in the history of international politics, it was the Bernard Baruch who used the term the Cold War. And it was later on popularized by Walter Lippmann. What is this Cold War? How would we define the Cold War situation? Cold War can be defined as a stage of intensive, unhealthy competition, political, economic, and ideological, which falls short of an armed conflict between the states. Even though the Cold War situation was not a real war, the actual bullets were not used, but according to scholars, there was always a possibility of war, hot war situation prevalent, and that can be seen even during the Cuban crisis in 1962. So there was a lot of hostility going on, a lot of antagonism going on between the two major powers. And uh, but here I am going to tell you two perspectives once we are talking about how this Cold War situation has actually initiated in international politics. First perspective I am going to tell you, that is a revisionist perspective. According to the revisionist perspective, the Soviet Union actually they put the entire blame on the United States of America. They have seen that this liberal democratic influence is going to influence the countries which are under the control of Soviet Union, and they have seen that how to resist this liberal democratic influence, how to resist the capitalistic influence in other parts of the globe, especially in the countries which were controlled by the Soviet Union. So therefore, this was not a good gesture for the Soviet Union to see the liberal democratic or capitalistic influence is, going to into the communist countries, and that the Soviet Union has actually started to resist this capitalistic influence and this liberal democratic influence in the countries which were under the control of Soviet Union, where the Soviet Union wanted to have its own ideological influence. And therefore, Soviet Union have not seen, this capitalistic and liberal democratic ideology as a good gesture for themselves. So far, of the Soviet Union's interest was concerned, and therefore they started a movement and started to shift and to disseminate a lot of information about communism and socialistic pattern of society, and take it as a kind of project across the Soviet Union, and to take it some of the European countries, and many other parts of the world, and most of the countries which got influenced by, like Bulgaria, Romania, Czechoslovakia, and many other countries came under the influence of Soviet Union. And So from the revisionistic perspective, we can say the Soviet Union actually put blame on the United States of America, that the United States of America is actually responsible by one way or other in creation of this Cold War situation. But there is another perspective which is called post-revisionist perspective. The post-revisionist writers have actually sought to focus more on factors such as geopolitics, cultural traits, elite perceptions, psychology, elite perceptions, and psychology, bureaucratic politics, security requirements, misunderstanding, for example, misperception, because the Cold War situation was such a situation where there was always a lot of misunderstanding going on, a lot of misperceptions going on, and that misperception and misunderstanding has intensified the Cold War scenario. And we all know that when there is a misunderstanding, misperception, that what is going on one side and what is going on another side, and that is going to intensify the Cold War situation, and that the same thing has happened. And but there is another perspective which I can believe that neither it is a revisionist perspective or the revisionist interpretation or the post-revisionist interpretation, but to my understanding, it is not only the United States of America which we can say that he is responsible of the Cold War situation, but not only the Soviet Union, but both blocs were responsible of creation of this Cold War situation, which actually ended in 1990s when the Soviet Union got disintegrated. So far as the consequences and the causes and the origin of the Cold War situation is concerned, what were the major causes, what were the major consequences and ramifications and repercussions, how it has affected the third world countries, developing countries, and other countries of the globe is going to be discussed in next lecture. See you in next lecture. Take care of yourselves. Stay blessed, and see you in next lecture. Take care of yourself.